everyone, it's Sharana from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing Euphoria Season 1, Episode 7, Trials and Tribulations of Trying to Pee While Depressed. Now, I don't know about you, I thought that all the titles of the episodes had to do with songs, but this was just a little bit too specific to be dealing with a real song, and I did try to check and see if this was a real song, and I didn't see anything, but let me know if you guys picked up on that or not. But, guys, you know, what a time to be alive. You know, your game, your win today. I'm actually going to post this episode tonight because I thought it would be a great idea to take a 30-minute nap, which turned into a 3-hour nap. And now I'm going to be up all night and it's going to suck for me at work tomorrow. But, you know, my loss is your win for today. So let's go ahead and talk about this episode, which centered around Cassie. Even though this movie was very Cassie-centric, the whole mess towards the second half of the episode just got my nerves bad. I'm so upset. But we're going to talk about Cassie first since this was her episode. But Nate behind gots to go. But let's talk about Cassie. So the episode opens up with young Cassie, which she did a very great job from a casting point because she looks exactly like Cassie does. And I was just like, oh my goodness, did they like CGI what she looked like as a child? Because this was just spot on for them looking like one another. They show that her dad was really attractive. You know, me personally, I didn't like it when y'all say like somebody is attractive, like fine, like got all the girls coming after him. That's not who I would necessarily picture. But you know what? He was cute. He just wasn't fine like everybody was trying to say that he was in the episode. But I'm gonna move past that. And so we see that this caused friction in his relationship with Cassie's mother, who had issues with him being flirtatious back with the women. And I don't know, when Rue says that he loved Cassie's mom and he loved all of them, that just encompass like Cassie's mom and his daughters, or like to insinuate that he actually was cheating on her with these women. I'm not sure, but we see that she was an ice skater. His dad really encouraged her to be an ice skater until he could no longer afford to pay for lessons. And so he kind of stopped encouraging her on that front. And we see that their mom developed, she was an alcoholic, as we've seen in the previous episodes. But we see this kind of started because of the fighting in their relationship, and also too because he found it very hard to keep up job to bring consistent money in to the household. And so one of the things that I really do want to point out is how after Cassie goes through puberty. Now, she's gone her whole life with everyone telling her that she's so beautiful. And I wanted to see a little bit more of how this affects Lexi, even though we see her kind of go off on her about it. I wanted to see more kind of how that affected like her relationship with her parents. But one of the things that I did appreciate them showcasing is how people's raggedy uncles or male members of the family, how they start being touchy-feely, trying to give hugs and stuff like that after you develop, talking about, I bet you got all the boys wrapping around your finger. That is not okay. I was happy that they took the time to show that, because I think that that's something that we don't talk about enough, you know, of just the male gaze in families, how you're supposed to be in a safe space, and how even the male members of your family can really take advantage of that, and how we really don't look out for that as much as we should. So I really do appreciate them kind of showcasing that with Cassie's story. And so we see that eventually her dad ends up leaving. The mom kind of says that, you know, they just weren't on the same page. He wasn't ready to be a father. They couldn't bring money in. But we see that when Cassie's at school, one of her classmates actually tells her that her mom cheated on her father, which led to some resentment with her mother. But eventually she just realized that maybe neither one of them were the best parents, or that it just they weren't best for one another. And so we see that the dad still tried to stay in their lives, used to get them every weekend. Then weekend came to like every other week, turned into a couple of months. And then, you know, eventually he stopped showing up until they see that he got into a car accident. He was driving drunk. He got into a car accident. He was in ICU for 23 days. He was in really bad shape, but she knew that her dad was a fighter and that he was going to pull through. But one of the most hurtful scenes that I saw was we see that Cassie tries to keep in contact with her dad following the accident, and then he eventually stops responding. But we see that he has kind of turned to a life of drugs, and he calls Cassie one day before her 15th birthday and asks her to come outside. And we can see that he's, you know, he's not in a good place. We can see the needle marks in his arms. And then also too, he tells Cassie, like, there's never goes a day that I don't think about you. And I'm like, okay, well, like, maybe he's about to like commit suicide or something. He just wanted to tell his daughter he loved her. But he only told Cassie which still plays into why I want to learn more about how Lexi felt growing up in this household of them always giving their attention, their affection, always telling Cassie she's beautiful, but we don't see them say that to Lexi. But he uses Cassie to basically open the garage so he can go in and steal some items from their house so he can sell them to buy more drugs. And that's essentially the last time that she ever sees her dad again. And so I thought that that was very heartbreaking, but I like how they correlate that to, you know, how she has daddy issues and how because of what happened between her relationship between her and her father, how that's led her how she acts in her relationships in the men or the young boys that she's dating, because she ain't dating no man yet, because don't even get me started. But this proves the point that I've been saying this entire season with Chris little insecure behind being mad about these videos that were posted about her. So we found that a lot of the men just wanted her for sex, kind of correlating to what Daniel told her in the previous episode. But all the videos that they had of her was videos between her and her boyfriend. So while y'all sitting up here trying to make it seem like she's some little slut who's sleeping or sucking, whatever, with her men's, okay, they took videos of her, and then she didn't want to do it, but she says yes because she's always trying to seek that affection, that attention that her dad never gave her as he disappeared out of their lives. How they use those pictures, they leaked those pictures, shared those pictures, and how she had a panic attack the first time that she saw one of the videos, which was ironically one of the videos that Nate showed Chris. We kind of see that that's kind of why she's kind of forced it out of her mind, that she kind of just didn't pay attention to it, which I guess what annoys Chris that she hasn't owned up to it, but he hasn't fully just asked her point straight, like how does you know, what does she think about these videos that he's seen? So I just felt vindicated. I just felt like I was proved right. It was with her men's while y'all sitting up here trying to talk mess about Cassie, even though she still get on my nerves just a little bit. But we see that she finds out that she's pregnant. She takes a pregnancy test. We saw that she looked at the tampon box, realized she missed her period in the last episode. And so now she's playing with her stomach, looking in the mirror, asking Lexi, like, do I look different? She was like, girl, you look the same. Like, are you asking me this about Daniel? And she was like, no, why are you trying to bring it about Daniel? She's like, girl, that's all you've been talking about. And I'm really sick of this. Like, all you do is obsess over how you look when no one's done anything but tell you how beautiful you've been all of your life. And she kind of just walks off, and Cassie looking like, what the heck just happened? And I was like, Lexi, thank you for telling her, because I just, but Lexi doesn't know that she's really asking this because she's pregnant. So we see that Cassie asks her friends to come over. And so she basically tells them that she has two things to tell them. First, she asks them, should she tell Chris about Daniel, about the carnival, then about what happened at Daniel's Halloween party. Everybody looking at her like, ma'am, are you serious? This is what you told us to come over here for? Hell no, you shouldn't tell him. Are you kidding me? And I was like, you know what? Because I have never cheated on anyone. For real. I'm sorry. I ain't even gonna lie. It's Sunday, y'all. But I was like, hell no, don't tell him. And I'm glad that finally the only good advice they ever give her, no, don't say that. Like, don't do any of this. But then Kat tries to, like, Kat goes off on Maddie. They kind of get into it. So Maddie basically, Kat tells her, like, girl, you're not the person to be giving advice. You break up with your boyfriend every other day. And then you're, like, just obsessed with all these things that don't matter. And your boyfriend is psychotic. I was like, at least somebody told her this. And so then Maddie basically tells her, you're basically a C word. I don't want to get demonetized, y'all. But she tells her off. And I thought that Kat was going to come back at her because she said she doesn't like this new cat. And then this girl pick up her coat and she just leave and just start crying. But when my girl said World Star, I thought they was going to get into a fight because I was just like, ooh, let me get my popcorn. This is getting good, y'all. But it ended and I was just like, dang, like I wanted more to happen. But we see that Lexi ends up asking Cassie that night, like, hey, what was the other thing that you wanted to talk about? And she's just like, oh, I forgot. And so basically she doesn't want to tell them like what's going on about the pregnancy. So this is what really shocked me in the episode. So she tells Chris that she's pregnant. And I thought that Chris was going to be like, you know, we should keep it. Like, let's raise this kid. But Chris is just like, first of all, when he was like, what? And then I was like, bitch, you heard her. And then he was like, are you 100% sure? Sir, I'm going to say that you're in shock right now, but I would have slapped the taste out of your mouth if you would have said that to me. Am I 100% sure? Are you kidding me? Then he talking about, you know, I got a lot going on. I'm in school. Sir, school? That's a lot going on? baby, that's not a lot going on. You already know that you're not going to pro. You need to be thinking about what you're going to do with your life to help take care of this kid and figure out how you're going to make a living for yourself going forward. But he started getting real selfish, like, my parents is going to kill me. My coach is going to kill me. Like, we can't do this. Like, I can't even believe that you're thinking about keeping this baby. I was like, Chris, oh my God. I was just shocked. I thought that he would have been a little more sympathetic to the situation. Like, he did try to check himself and be like, are you okay? I'm like, bitch, don't ask me, am I okay? You sitting up here talking about how all of this affects you. This is like, I know I'm being selfish. You think? And so then he was just like, you know, if you're asking how I feel about it, we don't need to do this. Being a parent scares me. We're not ready to do any of this. Actually, he don't really say that. He says he's not ready. It's not a we situation. And so basically she starts crying and she's like, I just wanted to dream about it for a moment. And then he was just like, you know, you'll make the best mother on the planet someday. And I was like, shut up. Just shut up. Because you got on my dang old nerves, sitting up here talking all this mess. When you, like, she the one who got to carry this baby, who going to have to take care of the baby. And I think it's interesting that when Kat says at the table, like, you guys are not going to be together forever. Like, you know that, right? Like, why are you trying to do all of this, put all this thought into it? And really how he reacts to the situation, it kind of confirms that this is not a good match. But also, too, if you were so scared about having a kid, put a damn condom on. Just put a condom on. Just let it be. But I was just like, it's an interesting storyline because this happens more often than people think about. And just to see the reactions and how it really puts it really opens your eyes as to the type of relationship that you're in, that you probably shouldn't be together. Just his whole reaction just really shocked me about, I did not expect Chris to react that way. And I know that, like, he ain't ish, but like, I didn't think he was ain't ish in that way. It just really shocked me how he reacted to the whole thing. But we see at the end of the episode that Cassie does end up going to her mother about it. And I think it's interesting. She's like, what's wrong? Like, you're going to be okay. You're beautiful. And I'm like, mama, saying you're beautiful is not going to fix all of these like situations. Obviously, y'all telling her she's beautiful the whole time. That ain't help because we're here right now. We're here right now. And I liked her overall storyline of how they show the dysfunction of her family, how it leads into how she chooses the men that she dates, how she reacts to situations, how she really cares about how she looks and how other people thinks that she looks, because that's basically what her parents, how they raised her, you know, the entire time of her growing up. So yeah, that's all about Cassie. Next, let me talk about Kat. Because Kat got on my damn nerves this episode. So she smashed Daniel whack ass. And so at the Halloween party, so after she was just like, you know, I thought you were going to be my first. And he was like, you're a virgin? And she was like, no, but like, you know, we dated back in 6th grade. And I was like, hold up. Is that the little kid that they showed in Kat's episode that like she was dating and he broke up with her? Is that him or was that somebody else? Because my mind was like blown, like, bruh, really? This fool? Then he had the audacity to be like, oh, I didn't even know. I can't stand Daniel. Ugh, Kat, I just want you, it's okay if you want to have sex. You have full ownership over your body. Whoever you want to give your body to, that is fine. But you gotta stop giving it to these whack dudes. My goodness, you have to, like, you just can't. I hope my parents ain't watching it. Parents, any family members watching this, just stop watching this for a few moments, fast forward like 30 seconds. If I would love to have sex all the time, but because dudes act like how Daniel acts in this episode, you just like, I can't even get some how I want to, because y'all be acting like I gave you all this power when really I was just trying to get my rocks off. You want all that in bed while you sitting here trying to make it seem like you were doing more than what you were going to. And that's what we just got to be careful who we give it up to. I want everybody to get them some, but these dudes these days, they don't deserve it. They just don't deserve it. And I just, okay, I'm off my soapbox. Now, we see that Kat, that guy who bought her wish list last episode, so she's doing like a little 30-minute chat. She charged him $300 for 30 minutes. Still got me thinking like I am in the wrong line of business. I need to go ahead and start my channel and get this on and popping. But he said you sold yourself short. I said, well, damn. So you mean to tell me should I be charging $1,000? Like $2,000? What should I be charging for 30 minutes? But you should have known that something was up. His screen was black. She was like, I think the connection's bad. You want me to call you back? He was like, I don't like to be seen. Well, bitch, if you don't like to be seen, I don't want to be seen either. So then he started talking to this creepy voice, and I was like, Cat, X that. This don't even sound right. This don't feel right. Then he told her to start undressing. I did like the little leopard bra that she had on, but when he starts to tell her like to start undressing, it just made me feel totally uncomfortable. Even she closed the computer quickly. I just want Cat to not try to seek validation from men. She puts on this exterior that she's this tough girl. She don't give a F. You know what thick thighs matter. Yes, but you can tell that she's really broken inside, and she's really doing this because these guys make her feel like she's wanted. They make her feel attractive. And basically everything that she's not getting from the universe, even though the Lord put not Daniel. Ethan in her life, and she just messed all of that up. I'm just like, I want Kat to get her life together. But that's pretty much all that happens with her in this episode. But we have to talk about Rue, Jules, Fez, Nate, because now they didn't got Fez involved in all this mess. But first and foremost, Rue is depressed. After the Halloween party, she hasn't been feeling the same, and she talks about how, how her mind works, like how she watches reality TV because it doesn't take that much work to process. Like the last season of Mad Men, I was like, Rue, you ain't told no lies, because that last season just wasn't where it was at. But we see that she's been watching Love Island, trying to keep her mind occupied. But during all of this, like in her depression, she like doesn't want to leave her bed, and she doesn't want to like get up to go pee. So the whole time, the whole premise of this episode of the title, she has not went to the restroom, and so she's starting to have these pains because she's not peeing, because she's just so depressed that she can't even get herself out of bed to walk 35 feet to the bathroom to relieve herself. And I like how she always brings like kind of the science of like with drug addicts, how they like die on toilets because their brain is so lazy they can't process to tell them to use the bathroom because they're under the influence. But also, too, my girl is a little detective. I said, Rue, you in the wrong business. You need to start a little detective agency because you like the Rain Man, like when it comes to you being sober, putting the pieces together. My girl done figure out that Tyler is really Nate, that Jules is in love with Nate, that Nate is in love with Jules. All of this stuff. And I was just like, my goodness, girl, had they not shown us, we would have figured none of this out. But you was really getting it together. So I love the whole little detective thing and how she's obsessing over this, how she like had a whole little crime scene laid out with photos and stuff, that she was able to put all this together and even got Lexi's buy-in from it. But I thought it was hilarious when she's trying to tell Fez what's going on, and he just looking at her like, what's wrong with you? But then she says like, hey, do you got a gun? And he was like, for what? And she's like, because I want you to threaten to kill Nate. And he was like, that is the dumbest idea I've heard all day, even with the stuff that you were saying. But then he was like, I got a lot of guns. And she was like, why do you have a lot of guns? I'm thinking he's saying because I'm a drug dealer. But he was like, because of my grandma. I was like, Grandma, was you running the business before whatever happened with you? Even though this whole conversation is taking place while he's giving his naked grandmother a sponge bath, I just thought it was so weird. But as they're talking, Mouse, he gets a text. Mouse is there, the same guy who got her hooked on these drugs before. He comes, he tells her like, sit down, sit the F down, shut the F up, do not leave this room. And I was like, Rue, please don't leave this room because I cannot take the stress right now. I don't need the stress in my life right now. Just do not leave the room. But then we realized he left her in the room with the pills and on his grandma's little stand. And so the pills start talking to Rue. Rue started getting tempted. And I was like, oh shit, she needs to get out of this room because she gonna end up relapsing. She's been doing so well. So we see her leave the room, and I was like, oh my gosh. So she leave the room, she trying to sneak out. Fez looking crazy. I'm looking crazy. I feel like I'm about to have a heart attack. And then Mouse is basically telling me he needs to up his game and like sell these drugs that he's been telling that he doesn't want to sell. And so she gets out, and I was like, ooh, thank you, Jesus, because I don't need that type of stress in my life. Nate stresses me out enough every episode. I couldn't take Mouse discovering Rue. So, basically, let me make sure I can finish everything up with Rue. I want to make sure I check my notes. But I thought it was cool going back to when she was telling Lexi about everything was happening, when she was like, side note, clean, nice dick, clean room. I was just like, I mean, give him props where props is due, even though that wasn't his penis that they saw. But yeah, so one of the things that I do want to talk about is, so Rue's mom, Leslie, is dating this new man. He's from Friendswood College, but I was like, Leslie, girl, Leslie, you are beautiful. Your brown skin is beautiful. Why are you dating Rick? Rick ain't it. Rick is not it. And so she left her room to go get some cereal. The only time she left her room, and then she sees that her mom and Rick is sitting there eating, drinking some wine. And he was like, "Hey, Rue, I heard you have a new best friend." And she looking like, first of all, I'm looking at her mama like, "Leslie, why are you pillow talking to Nick or to Rick? Did nobody tell you to pillow talk or tell him my business?" Because I was looking side eye like, "Leslie, why you telling Rue business to him? And why he feels so comfortable to think that he can come say something to her about who her new best friend is?" And so basically, she told him, she basically said, what did she say to him? Let me make sure I get this right. So basically, she tells him that she told him to go F himself. And then she was just like, "Rue, how dare you speak to him this way?" And I'm like, "How dare you tell her business like that?" And so then she's like, "I sincerely apologize for telling you to go F yourself." And then she basically says that like her mom can do better. And then she hates seeing him sit in her dad's chair. And I cackle, I laugh out loud, I holler because she said everything that we were thinking. I'm just like, "Leslie, I don't understand you. And even more importantly, I am just trying to understand the writing for Rue. I understand that Rue is mixed. She has a black mother. She has a white father. However, anybody that has grown up in a black household with a black mama knows that you ain't got no like private time to yourself. You have no privacy. Like if your mother will be able to determine if something is wrong with you, okay? You could say one sentence and your mama's gonna know what is happening with you, what is going on in your life. And I feel as though her mom is so nonchalant with her child. And I couldn't even give you the benefit of the doubt if Rue was just like a normal child. But because she's bipolar, has anxiety, suffers from depression, not only that, but a drug addiction, the way that she just, how the hell you got time to lay up in bed for all these days and like nobody check on you? We saw Gia went to go check on her, but I don't understand how her mom is not more involved in her life. It pisses me off. It bothers me. It is not realistic. It makes no sense whatsoever. I just need there to be better writing with that storyline, because at first when she was like, "Who's slamming doors in my house?" I was like, yes, that is a black mama. Actually, not really, because knowing my parents, they would have took the door off the hinges, okay? And I think they actually done that before. They would have took the door off the hinges. I would have got the taste slapped out of my mouth, okay? Probably wouldn't even be alive to tell the story had I done some crazy stuff like that. I just don't understand. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Maybe it's just me. I don't know how everyone's black mama experience has been, but I just know I had no dang on privacy, and there's no way my mom would not be able to know that I was depressed about something, or she probably would have had me in church before therapy. But still, I'm just saying, it just makes no sense whatsoever to me. So, in between that, she tries to get out of bed to finally go use the bathroom because she's in so much pain, but she ends up falling over on the floor and just lays there. Her mom finds her and she ends up giving her a bath and cleaning her room for her, washing her clothes. And then, but she interestingly does say, like, "You're getting better because you went through this depression and never once did you turn to drugs." And even when she was locked in the room, she would rather risk her life with Mouse than to sit in the room and go back to drugs. So it is a sign that Rue is trying to do better. I don't know necessarily how long this is going to last. The whole dysfunctional relationship that she has with Jules, when Jules was sitting up here texting her because she had been answering her text talking about, "Oh, I had the flu." Beesh, are you serious? Jules bothers me in how she treats Rue and how she leads Rue on, how their relationship and their codependency between one another is so very toxic to watch on screen. It just rubs me the wrong way. But we see that Jules is depressed herself because of what happened with Nate forcing her to lie to the police about Tyler, who has now been charged with assault. And so essentially she goes back to visit one of her old friends. And so TC is like asking her like, "How's the suburbs been?" And so she kind of tells her about Rue. And so, you know, TC is asking like, "Okay, so like what's going on with that?" And she was just like, "I kind of came to not think about this." And so they come in contact with her friend Anna, who was actually on this Netflix show that I actually did enjoy called Trinkets. So it was nice to see her again. And so basically they end up, I like how Jules talks about how the reason why she only hooks up with men, she's never had like a meaningful relationship with another man. But she says that she does it to try to conquer femininity. So the more she sleeps with men, the more she feels like a woman, which is kind of, it makes sense to me. but it explains her reckless relationship that she has with hooking up with these type of men that she decides to hook up with, who don't believe that, you know, they believe that they're still straight, even though, you know, they're having sex with someone who's transitioning at the same time, and that's really what attracts them to them. But yeah, so it kind of gives more light as to why Jules does the things she does and finds herself kind of in these relationships with men, or these unhealthy sexual relationships with men. But we see that they end up going to a party, they start doing drugs, and so Anna kisses her, and I was just like, hold up, Jules, my girl, so you sitting up here cheating on Rue like that? Like, she starts talking about Rue, about how she actually really does like her, and then she actually texted her, and Anna was like, no, and I was like, girl, now I was rooting for you being on this episode, but if you gonna try to come in between them, even though their relationship is not right for one another, I was just like, Lord, I just have an issue with this. She started kissing her. She started tripping out. Then we see Nate. And I was like, hold up, is this fool here? And then she was like, what are you doing here? He was like, you text me? I was like, how the hell she text him? Like, did I miss something? I'm trying to rewind real quick. And then we keep seeing them. And you see that Jules is clearly like, she has feelings for him. And then they start kissing each other. And then she tries to choke him. Then we see Anna. Then we see Nate. Then we see Anna. Then we see Nate. Then we see Rue. I was like, hell, am I on drugs? Am I high right now? Because I was so confused in those 5 minutes. I just didn't understand. And then when Rue tells her, like, in this vision, like, you know, this isn't going to end well, I was like, well, hell no, it's not. We know that. I'm glad that you guys are starting to figure this out. So I don't know. But what really made me mad is Nate, y'all. So his dad is waiting for him when he come home, Cal. He was just like, I don't know how the hell you got out of this, but I just hope that, like, you didn't learn a bad lesson. I'm just like, can you talk to your son? Because obviously he messed up because of you, and you still messed up. I just need you guys to give help. Can we have Ayanna come and help fix their lives? Because both of y'all are just out of control at this point. And so we see that Nate ends up pulling up to the store where Fez and Ashtray be at. And so he's getting some stuff for Maddie. And then Fez basically says, like, hey man, like, I don't know what's going on between you, Rue and Jules, but, like, you know, I care about Rue. And then he was like, aren't you a drug dealer? And then he was like, nah. And then he was basically just like, if you keep messing with Rue and her friends, I'm gonna kill you. And I was like, oh my goodness, don't get involved in this. I can't see you go, Fez. Just don't be involved. But like, Nate was calling him like a retard. You dropped out of school, now you just want to be gangster. But the way my man's, after he threatened to kill Nate, and then he said that's gonna be $575. I said, well, damn, okay, go ahead and collect your coins too. But I was just like, I saw that look in Nate's face, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that this is not gonna end well for Fez. Nate gonna try to take him down. And then we see Nate call the police, and then the police is banging at Fez's door. They trying to flush the pills down the toilet, him and Ashtray. And I was just like, well, shit, I can't see Fez go down for this. Somebody needs to beat Nate's ass. It ain't like Nate that strong, okay? He ain't that strong. He just a privileged little white boy who just has money and just comes off as scary. I need someone to beat his ass, shoot him, take him out by any means necessary. I don't care what you need to do, but he got to go. Nate bothers me so much. The way that his privilege allows him to get out of these predicaments, put this other kid in jail. I need these detectives to do their damn job and figure out the truth. Or if Rue's gonna go tell the truth about what's going on, I don't know, but he pissed me off this episode. But it's only one more episode, y'all. I'm gonna miss y'all so much. I feel like we just had so much to talk about these past couple of weeks, and I don't know what I'm gonna do to like get by on Sundays at this point. Maybe I'll just go to sleep now that there's no TV shows, but I miss y'all so much already, and we still got one more week. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Euphoria season 1, episode 7. Trials and tribulations of trying to pee while depressed. A lot happened this episode. Excited to see what happens with the season finale. As we can see from the previews, it doesn't center around a character. I thought we were going to get into Fez and Ashtray and find out a little bit more about them, but I guess we got season 2 to figure that out. But I really hope that Nate gets taken out. I know this ain't gonna happen because Nate is too problematic of a character that keeps half the drama happening. So I know I'm gonna have to see his old psychotic behind next season. But those are my thoughts on this episode. As always, my name is Sharona from Pay Your Weights. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.